Welcome back to GasDiesel Garage, everyone. In today's episode, we got a good one because we're going to take a look at what the state inspectors do when they inspect your vehicle for safety and why state troopers entrust mechanics to keep your car safe. So stay tuned. Now, the first thing I want to let you know is that I've been inspecting vehicles for about 20 some years now. Matter of fact, yep, there's my license right there. So this video is intended for information purposes only. This is not to bash any of my fellow mechanics, none of that. It's just to show you exactly what goes on when you get your vehicle inspected. Now, this is very important. I want to let you guys in on a little secret. The secret is that mechanics, they have to go through a background check and they have to take a major test to get a state inspection license. Now, the state trooper mandates this inspection license. So therefore, the license is not the shop's license. The license is actually the mechanic's license. So if you got a problem, if you think the state inspector is treating you unfairly, or did they fail something that you think should have passed, you probably should call the state trooper and talk to him, because the mechanics are representatives of the state troopers. So like I said, if you got a problem, you need to talk to the state trooper, not their boss at the shop, because the shop really has nothing to do with it. They're just the facility that houses the state inspection program. And here's the other caveat to this. The mechanics, if they do something wrong or illegal, they're the ones that are going to get the fine, and they're the ones that are going to go to jail. So most mechanics, they do what they're supposed to, and they treat you fair. Some people might call it, legal extortion, but, it is what it is. Because I tell you what, I'd rather have my vehicle safe and nothing falling off of it and kill my family. So there's a reason why at least Virginia, the state of Virginia, does state inspections. Well, the very first thing they do when they get in a vehicle, they're supposed to scrape that sticker right there. It comes off before the inspector actually gets in the vehicle. Once they get in the vehicle, they got to make sure all these seat belts work. Make sure they click in. Make sure the passenger side clicks in. All right. Then you have to make sure this door opens from the inside. Not so much for the passenger side, but for some reason the driver's side has to open from the inside, not the outside, the inside. Then also gotta make sure that window goes up and down. I guess if you're in an accident, they're able to roll it down, but when they just bust the window, never understood that. Then you're gonna look on here, make sure there's no ABS lights or airbag lights or seatbelt lights on any of your dashboards, like that one. Next thing you're gonna do is check the parking brake. Lock that in place, put it in drive. Vehicle should stay still. Not revving it, but should stay still. Next thing is, make sure the horn works. Make sure the windshield wipers work. Yep, wrong one. There you go. Next thing you do, you gotta make sure that defrost works. Yep, it blows. Yep, there you go. here's a tip to save you a lot of hassle that the state inspectors love to gig customers on for failing in state inspection it's right here. Checking these wiper blades, make sure that they're not ripped right here at the ends. If it's just the slightest bit of a tear, they're gonna fail you for it. Might just want to save yourself and just put some new ones on every time you go get a state inspection. And I also forgot to mention, a check engine light does not fail a state inspection, so don't get worried about that. But what will fail will be the windshield. Make sure that windshield is not cracked. You can't have more than one crack coming from the same point, and it's got to be within about, I think it's about a quarter. If you can put a quarter on it, which would be about an inch, put a quarter over that small crack. If it's within that inch, it doesn't fail. You can have a crack all the way across the windshield and still pass. You just can't have multiple cracks or spider crack. Now in the state of Virginia, all the cloudiness on these headlights, they can come off. You can make them clear, but a lot of times they'll fail because they're clouded and can't see anything at nighttime. So state inspectors, they'll probably gig you for that also. And fog lights, make sure the fog lights work and the fog lights lenses are not smashed or bashed in. And also too, you can actually remove the fog lights if they are smashed, if they are expensive. You can actually remove them. You have to remove both of them and you'll pass inspection on that also. Now it comes for under the hood. Now there's only a few things that they are allowed to look at under the hood. Number one is, you gotta look for the master cylinder, brake master cylinder. They gotta make sure that the master cylinder is not leaking and that the fluid is still full. On the brake side, that's what fails on that. Now on the engine part, if your engine is power steering is controlled by, or I'm sorry, if the power steering is belt driven, then you got to make sure that the serpentine belt is not ripped, torn, or any cracks. But this one I believe is electric steering, so he's good on that one. Just make sure the belt. And also too, motor mounts, if they're broken, they will fail. Most motors, they probably have about 2 or 3 of them, especially when the engines are sideways. They'll fail if they're broken. Now the next thing to do is they need to get the car up in the air. Now I'm on my back with jack and jack stands, but in a dealership or a shop, they're gonna put it on a rack so they can actually walk under it and look at it. Now it's time for the dreaded gray area for a state inspector, and that's the tires. Tires is a big pain in the butt. Now, it is said in the state inspection manual that tires have to be above 230 seconds. Anything that's below 230 seconds of tread, it fails. If these things are balled all the way across, like the one in the back that I'm probably going to show you here in a few seconds, that fails. If it has any steel showing, that fails. If it shows any belt showing, worn out, that fails. If it has a nail in the tire, that fails. As I was saying, the wear bars. See how they're the same height as the tread? All three, all the way around? That tire fails. This tire fails. Needs to be replaced. Now, while the car is in the air, the front suspension has a lot of things that they gotta check out. First thing is, you gotta check out the tie rods, which will be side to side. They shake it from side to side. You can shake it by hand. And you feel any kind of looseness, you need to check the tie rods, whether it be the inner tie rod or the outer tie rod. You just gotta decipher which one it is. But any kind of play on that, it fails also. And also too, on the steering, on the rack and pinion, if the bellows boots, you know, that accordion looking boot, if it's got a tear or a hole in it, that fails also. Now next thing they do is, when you're on the tire right here, they shake it up and down. They shake it up and down to check the ball joint play. Now this being a front wheel drive car, you just got one ball joint on the bottom, and then you got the bolts that connect the hub to the strut. That's pretty tight. You got to do that on both sides. Now the state inspection manual states that when it comes to brakes, when you check out the brakes, you're supposed to pull one tire off on each axle. So one right there, you take it off. But most mechanics, they don't take the tires off, they can actually see the brakes through the spokes. That's what we're gonna do. You can actually see the brakes. Get that light. You can see down in there. If you can see the pad, that's great. If it's below 230 seconds or metal to metal, or even if the rotor is torn up because it's metal to metal, that fails badly. And in the rear, there's still cars around that got drum brakes. If they got drum brakes, I highly recommend you take the tire off and take the drum off so you can actually look at it. Because those drum brakes, they can be a pain in the butt. Because most of the time, they probably got a wheel cylinder that might be leaking that you can't see because it's all inside of that drum. So take the drum off. Once the mechanic gets under the vehicle, it's exhaust time. Got to make sure none of this exhaust has any holes in it or broken hangers or anything else. But most of the time when you bring it in, if you hear some kind of rasp, more than likely you got a hole in your exhaust, and that's a biggie. Don't want to die of carbon monoxide poison. And also too, I forgot to mention on the wheels and the tires, make sure that you have all of your lug nuts. You can't have a missing lug nut, and you can't have any broken studs, therefore it fails. In a nutshell, that's all that needs to be checked when it comes to state inspections. Now I know other states have a similar process, but it's a state inspection. It's a safety inspection. It's to keep your car running and you not killing anybody. So just do what the state inspection stuff tells you. I know some mechanics can be cheaters and fakes out there, but they're only there, well, obviously to make a living, but they're trying to make you stay safe also. Now that you're aware of how the state inspection program works, this officially ends this episode. So if you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace.